This is Ed Bryant of the Alberta Government Travel Bureau. You know, we in Alberta boast that the best skiing in North America is in our Canadian Rockies at Banff, Sunshine, Lake Louise, Jasper, and Yoho in British Columbia. Nature has been kind in providing these areas with perfect conditions for winter sports. Brilliant daily sunshine, moderate climate, deep powder snow, and long slopes. These areas are modern too, with all facilities. Hans Moser emigrated to Canada from Austria 11 years ago. His reputation as a guide and ski mountaineer has grown steadily, and today he is one of the best known guides in the Rockies. He's a photographer too, and his annual spring tour filming party is a must. I think you'll enjoy this Alberta skiing story told by Hans Moser himself as he skis with his friends in the Canadian Rockies.
Powder snow is no doubt the ultimate of snows, and the very mention of it suggests many impressions. Mostly it brings to mind a sunny day, a wide, open, untouched snowfield, and big plumes of powder behind the skiers who carve their turns into this fluffy white. It is this combination of powder snow and sunshine which attracts skiers everywhere, and they can find it easiest in Alberta, where winter is a pleasure. Here the skies are clear, the snow is fresh, and all these vast slopes seem to be waiting for your tracks. You can climb to the last bit of snow below the steep rock cliffs. Here you take off your climbing skins, fasten your harness, and enter into this skier's dream. Watch him pick up his glasses. Jim McConkey of Barrie, Ontario, and one-time manager of the Mount Norquay chairlift in Banff, does the skiing for us. Walking up a mountain discourages many an ardent skier, and therefore a number of lifts have been built in Alberta in the past years to make this powder snow accessible to everyone. These lifts, besides opening up excellent skiing, also offer spectacular views, such as this one from the top of the Mount Norquay lift, where you can look onto the town of Banff 2,500 feet below. Canada's choice for the Winter Olympic Games. Mount Norquay has a mile-long double chairlift, while the lower slopes are served by two high-speed pommel lifts. Heinz Fifian, director of the Mount Norquay Ski School, sneaks in a run before starting his classes. We see him on the North American downhill, one of the most challenging ski runs in the country. From the upper terminal of the chairlift, you look east at Mount Cascade, the Fairholme Range, the Bow Valley, and Mount Rundle, which towers 5,000 feet above the valley. There are some very steep slopes which border the ski area, and as you can see, they are closed off most of the time because constantly little avalanches slide into this huge bowl, which of course means that the snow stays here till late into the season. In spite of only a few people on the ski hill, you have to be alert and keep your eyes open all the time. There is a wild ski patrol on Norway, and they just about wiped me out on their first try. Johnny Wackerley, Bob Meggs, Paul Urban and Johnny Presto, all members of the Norway Patrol, out to sample the good powder snow. But the enjoyment of a ski holiday is not limited to the hills, and many join their friends for the nightlife in this Alberta winter playground. While I am sure that some of these people wouldn't manage to spend the whole night with wine and song, others are actually planning where they should ski the next day. Perhaps they want to take a run such as this. Sepp Lichtenegger, a transplanted Austrian, skis for us, and the snow sparkles in the morning sun. All this is only 36 miles from Banff, driving along the beautiful Trans-Canada Highway. Our destination today is Lake Louise. Lake Louise is the newest of ski resorts in the Canadian Rockies and offers a great variety of ski terrain. A number of lifts which are conveniently arranged link two major mountains to provide a 10-mile ski circuit. Calgary skiers can come up here for just a day of skiing. And to see what they can do during such a day, I asked Sepp Lichtenegger, Edie and Art Mears to let me follow them around with my camera for just such a day. Immediately off the highway, they board a 2-mile-long gondola lift, which takes them up into the mountains. This in itself is quite an experience, looking back at all the tremendous peaks which rise above Lake Louise. This lift brings us to the so-called halfway terminal, which could just as easily be situated somewhere in the Alps. Even on a day like this, which registered 20 below in the valley, it was very mild and pleasant up here on the sunny side of the mountain. Yet, in spite of the bright sun, the snow was dry. Excellent powder snow. But somehow, all this good powder snow and bright sunshine does not necessarily entice people to ski. On some people, it has exactly the opposite effect. They much rather sit around and loaf in the sun. But they seem highly embarrassed when aroused by the grinding of my camera. It is of course very difficult to stand out by yourself amidst such a colorful ski crowd, but this doesn't stop the girls from trying at least. I like to smile, and we asked Patty Schwartz of Calgary to also ski with us. Sepp in the meantime got fed up with all this picture taking and started to ski over to the next lift. With the high-capacity Poma lift, we ride to the top of Eagle Ridge. Once on top, we have all those tremendous mountains around us, and below some exciting ski slopes, as we start our first run, skiing at Lake Louise. This certainly takes the kinks out of your back. To have so much powder snow readily available is a novelty for people up here, and it is mostly for lack of opportunity that they have not learned to handle powder the way it is skied at Alta, for instance. However, with all these new lifts and all this wonderful terrain opened up, these people will also become experts at skiing in the powder snow, and there is no reason why a place such as Lake Louise shouldn't become another mecca for those who are constantly in search of powder snow. Our run brings us back to the halfway terminal. There is a restaurant where we grab a quick bite to eat. Sepp waxes his skis, and then we are on our way up the mountain again. Since this lift takes us to the top of the ridge, it means that we can also ski down the other side of the mountain. One of the runs which leads down the other side is called the Ptarmigan Run, and it will take us to Temple Chalet. At Temple Chalet, we can take a Poma lift to the top of Large Hill, and from there ski down to Lake Louise again to start this whole circuit once more. To get to Ptarmigan Run, we have to walk a few feet, which we don't mind at all, because as we walk over there, we have a tremendous view of Lake Louise, all frozen over amidst its unequaled setting of high mountain peaks. And yet, ahead of us, an even more fantastic view, especially for the skier. In front of us, as we come up to the crest of the ridge, stretches an unlimited panorama of wide open ski slopes, scope for future developments. The skiing here is more spectacular than where we had skied in the morning. And since this is the north side, it also means that the powder snow is better yet. Coming into view on the left is Temple Chalet, and this is where all the ski runs lead together. At last, our run brings us to Temple Chalet. From here we can either continue our run or first take another lift up and then ski down to Lake Louise. For those who like the rugged and remote places, however, we still don't have any spectacular cable cars. And in order to get to such a place, you have to do some rather precarious climbing with skis and pack on your shoulder. You have to dig in your hands and toes, have the wind whistle around your ears, and just keep on pushing because you want to get to that soft powder snow in that steep chute. When you finally get there, you find that the snow is terrible. You would think that one such run cures you forever from this habit of climbing. The reason it never does is quite simple. While you climb up mainly to get a good run, you encounter so many beautiful sights along the way that this alone makes your climb worthwhile. If it isn't a distant view, then it is your immediate surroundings which fill you with awe and joy. On a day such as this, it is very hard to decide what you enjoy more, the climb up or the run down. What a thrill when you reach the peak. You break over the summit crest so abruptly that it gives the effect as if a giant curtain was rolled back and the whole country laid open before you. By climbing to such a peak on such a day, you have added another priceless pearl to your collection of memories. To top all this, you still have a fantastic ski run ahead of you. A ski run of such variety, it offers something for every type of skier. You can dance down a steep slope in the whirling powder snow. Or precariously pick your way along a steep, narrow ridge. You can cut loose on a wide open slope and leap off giant bumps and cornices. Or you can leisurely float across a gentle, wide open glacier. And it is these glaciers which hold the greatest attraction for the skier, because expert and beginner alike can just let their skis run without having to worry about getting out of control. To reach these glaciers, people start early in the morning, perhaps at 3 o'clock. It is by now the month of May, and you want to be up on this glacier before the sun gets too hot. On such a morning, you have a tremendous desire to climb up there into the sun and to look out over this beautiful land. It is a cold, clear morning. The snow is hard frozen, and with each step you take, the horizon widens, and more of the peaks glisten in the morning sun. What a fascinating play between light and shadow. On one side of the valley, the mountains in the bright morning sun. On our side, still deep shadow. A cold wind blows from the mountain, and it is just about as cold as Vi is trying to show us. Therefore, on such a morning, we don't stop too often. We keep moving at a steady pace. And after 4 hours climbing, we arrive at the famous Steps of Paradise. Everyone kicks firm steps into the hard snow, and quite a few of us are not exactly at ease walking on such a steep incline. This is one of the most thrilling moments of our climb. Ever since we left the valley, we have been in the shadow, and now, as we arrive on the ridge, we suddenly break out into the sun. You can see the sharp ridge extending behind us. We have to walk along it for a little ways before we can cross over to the actual summit, which is 9,300 feet high. On such a day, the summit is very cold in spite of the bright sun. An icy wind blows from the east, and this is what we like, because it makes for good corn snow. But since it is so cold, we don't spend too much time on the top. We take one last look at the mountains, some of which rise another 2,000 feet above us, and then we start our run. And what a run it was. After about half a mile, we have to peel off the ridge and take a long, steep slope onto the glacier below. Here we were at last out of the wind and decided to have our traditional summit rest. After all, by now we have been going for 6 hours and everyone is tired and hungry. In the bag we have the so-called mountain mixture. It consists of chocolate chips, raisins and nuts. It looks like some of our group are preparing for a cocktail party. But here we don't need any cocktails to have a good time. The country is beautiful, the weather perfect, the snow out of this world, and we were in the best of humor. Many a good story was told while we sat here. Most of them so good I wouldn't dare to repeat them here. You can easily see that by the laughs on everyone's face. Then it was time to continue our run, and to make things a little more interesting, we are going to have a fox chase. Jim McConkey is the fox and everybody else is trying to catch him. Those are the ones that weren't good enough for the movie. You can see that the girls are the ones most eager to catch him. This has taken us 2 miles down the glacier. There's still another 6 miles to go, so let's go everybody! So we come to the end of our ski tour through those mountains where winter is a pleasure. Whether you like to ride up the mountain in a comfortable gondola lift, whether you enjoy skiing through the moguls, or whether you prefer skiing in the soft powder snow through the trees, or whether you like to take a bus to Sunshine Lodge, which is 14 miles out of Banff. and then use one of the lifts to ski on the Sunshine Plateau. Or whether you like to ski to one of the most beautiful places in the Canadian Rockies, Mount Assiniboine. Either to look at this spectacular mountain from a cozy lodge, or to make your own ski tracks across the wide open slopes. You can find it all and more in Alberta, where winter is a pleasure.